Reeser.
It's us.
Hello!
Hello.
We return with more hot, steaming trash. So, we just had some exciting Quaggle-related shenanigans, and the day is drawing to a close as you all assemble once again. And if anybody's wondering, Danielle will be with us in a second. You can all sort of head back over to Tromlin and Ugna's place to reconvene. And
Sorry, I
so,
was inspired by Ugna.
Ah, nice.
yay, popcorn.
Hell yeah.
Solid choice.
Freshly
Uh-huh.
popped over a burning merchant stall.
You get that nice oaky aroma. It's good.
It's better than smoked quaggle.
It's
Mhm.
true.
What I want to know at this point is what you guys are doing for the next few days, because this research that Perny's doing is going to take a while.
Well, I'd like to fill in the rest of the gang on what Glorpa and I learned from Garbage Grandma.
Yeah, why don't we do that first then? Let's just
Um,
we can play through that and then we can talk about the next few days.
Well,
So,
I think
yeah,
today went really good.
Yeah, it was great. There was a lot more fire than I was expecting, but it turned out to be the good kind of fire in the end and not the bad kind. So
Some
I'll
days are
count
like
as
that.
victory. Yeah, you never know with fire. Like sometimes, I don't know. So we talked to Trash Grandma and we asked her about the frog people who have been pushing into the dump. And she did her usual woo-woo, yoga grandma, namastes, but had some interesting information, the most salient of which, and yeah, I know the word salient, even though I'm a quaggle.
I don't.
Saw it on a scroll once. It was like one of them real squiggly ones. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then my buddy was like, that's salient. I was like, can you eat it? And he was like, no. I was like, fuck that. Anyway, I digress.
That's something
She
about
said
ships, right,
that-
Tromlin?
Yeah, it's something with boats. It's a nautical metaphor, I think. She said that the reason the frog people have gotten all uppity is that they have acquired some sort of object of power that has basically started kind of organizing them or giving the motivation or ability to organize and start to intrude on areas which they previously stayed out of. So yeah, there's something weird afoot in the swamp. She had one of her, visions that is like 85% stuff that you could guess and 15% other stuff. And she mentioned that we would go fix this problem, obviously. She said that we would set a trap and that trap would lead us to where we need to go, which is actually a pretty good idea if we can think of something that the frog people might want to take and drag back to wherever their home base is these days. We could probably use that to track them down. Yeah, food,
Pies.
items. We can do a little bit of research, see like what kind of stuff they've been, stealing when they do their raids. And
Everyone knows frogs love pies.
It's true, they do.
I said eyes.
Pies, eyes.
Yeah.
Pie pies.
Yeah. Pie pies. Tried that once. Not that bad. The texture was weird, but so yeah, I feel like that's a solid first step if we can put together some sort of bait and then follow them to where we need to go. It sounded like she made it sound like there would be some fighting. That seems likely given what I know about frog people, but we're pretty good at fighting. So that is most of it. And then she went on a bunch of stuff about like being on a boat and meeting other quaggles, and there was like a trash dragon, something like that, which sounds like cool as hell. But I don't actually know what any of that means yet. But if I ever find myself on a boat, apparently it's going to be a bad time for me, vomit-wise.
Oh.
But I feel like that's all stuff for later. Right now, I'd like to figure out this whole frog people invasion situation. And then Glorpa got like super smoked out, and like you saw some stuff, right?
I did. I saw my friend. Believe it or not, I do have one other friend. I guess I have some others, but that was the one that I remembered. She's kind of like me. She smells about the same. We both have like cumin scented body odor mostly, and that's how I know when she's coming.
Got that mammal stank.
Oh yeah. So she, in my vision, she told me something about a blood night moon. Wait, no, blood knife moon. Even cooler.
Blood knife moon, yes.
Not really sure where that is. I don't know that I've ever heard of that before.
She wasn't clear on it either, other than it sounded bad.
I think I heard them play at a tavern once.
Yeah.
There's also something about the mark of the red hand, which I'm wondering if anybody's heard of something like that, or
It's like
maybe
when
it's
someone
poetic.
spanks you on the backside real hard.
Oh, and then their hand gets red.
Maybe it's a BDSM club.
Maybe it's good. Yeah.
Or it's a cult.
Yeah,
No,
that's
you gotta-
more likely.
All
But
right, fine.
Look, I don't want it to be
But
a cult. I want it to be the BDSM club.
yeah, that would be much better, I think, for most
Can
of
be
you.
both. Me too.
All right, so
Fortunately, it often is both. That's the problem.
No.
Mammal Stank is the BDSM club.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're getting the names confused.
Blood Knife Moon is the act that plays at the BDSM club.
Yes, that's right.
I'm in
Blood
on
Night
this.
Moon is the
Great.
furry polycule that hangs out.
Good.
They have a name for themselves. I love it.
Hate it. Hate it. Hate it.
But there even
Furry
be
furry
furries
polycule
in
is
this
definitely
universe?
got to be a band. Someone
I
needs
mean,
to form that band.
There's got to be furries, but they actually go after like all of the animal people.
Yeah,
That'd be a very
there would be
specialized filter
furries, but it
dance.
would just be like you would just need to find like a very good enchanter or a cool magical item that would turn you into whatever
They're
your
like,
first
I'm a
element was.
tabaxi now.
Yeah, then you'd be good to go, right?
Yeah.
It would be cool.
Done.
I can reveal that Copernicus does know
He's a
what
furry.
a blood knife moon is. Yes,
You don't
he
say.
rips off the human skin, and underneath he's some other kind of D&D furry race.
I'm not
Man.
even surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I would be a little surprised at this point.
Grandma
He's a-
was
he's
freaky.
a koala.
I mean, Tromlin's half furry.
Hmm.
Oh god, everything makes sense and I hate it.
More than half furry, including with his shirt off. Hey.
Bennett's
I
kind of
want-
half furry
I
right
mean,
now.
Fedid's pretty
Yeah,
furry
I'm
right now.
extremely furry.
I should point out that during this entire kerfuffle, Fedid has been basically like a blue version of Cousin It with a kobold sticking out.
That's weird.
I feel like the fire probably singed off a lot of the fur at this point, which means I smell even worse than usual.
Oh, there was one thing that I wanted to make sure everybody knew, which is you're supposed to not trust a stranger who won't show you their eyes, which I think is pretty good advice in general.
Mhm.
But you know,
Yeah.
Swamp Bitch told me that too.
Swamp Bitch seems a little mean-spirited.
No, I mean that in love.
Yeah, that's a Russian punk band name if I've ever heard one.
Swamp Bitch.
That
Good.
sounds like a doom metal band fronted by a bunch of women, and I am completely into that. Actually, that would rule.
See, to me, it sounds like a horror B movie that's intended to be feminist. And it-
Yeah,
And isn't?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it starts off being
From the
feminist,
80s.
but you
Yeah.
find out it just means it's more like femdom than feminist, and you're like,
Yeah, it's like, no, this is totally like inspirational. This is fucking porn.
Yeah.
mhm.
Copernicus knows
like,
that.
like how Wonder Woman was feminist, and definitely not
Yeah.
just a bondage thing.
Copernicus knows that a blood knife moon is a term for when you get that harvest sort of blood moon, the extremely red, large moon, but instead of full, it's a thin crescent, is a blood knife moon.
Ooh.
That's cool.
See, I was expecting it to be more literal than that. I thought there would literally be like knives coming from the moon. I mean, I guess it's not too late for that to actually be the case, but
It's never too late if you have hope in your heart.
I was going to say I should stop giving the DM ideas.
Open your heart to
What,
blood
um,
magic.
What kind of like besides obviously blood magic? What kind of are there particular rituals or cults that heavily associate with the blood knife moon?
The dark
I
farming.
mean, it's one of those. It's like in general sort of magic terms, it's one of those astrological events where you could imagine all sorts of things. It's like,
Pumpkin.
it happens every once in a while, so it's the sort of thing where this is a good night to do this kind of magic or this kind of ritual. So not really, nothing specific.
Okay. So yeah, it's a good night for blood sacks of blood, for
Mhm.
mud
Ain't we all?
sacks. Yes.
Evil vegetables.
A night when blood will suffice, a blood sack will suffice, if you know what I mean.
Hey.
Hey.
Try not to know
Um,
what that means.
So I'm gonna spend some time in the next few days figuring out when the next Blood Knife Moon is.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, she didn't have a calendar down there, unsurprisingly.
Did you ask her about her Far Side collection?
No, you don't want to get her started because she'll be like, "Oh, do you remember the one where the cow has the weird tools and it says cow tools?" And you're like, "Yes, Grandma, I remember that one." She's like, "That one was pretty good. Do you remember the one with the dog where he's drinking from the hose?" I'm like, "Yes, Grandma." She's like, "That one was also pretty good." And it goes on and on like that.
There's a lot of Far Side.
Mhm.
This leads to Copernicus doing exactly that for a while,
Yeah.
and reminiscing about
good.
Farsight. Um,
Ugna falls
But in his
asleep.
case, the Far Side is a place that he's been.
Yes. How do you remember
You
that far?
know there was a Far Side television show, but they only made one season, and it was a strange format, and it never really got its due. And you can still find it on PernyTube.
Me too. Oh God.
it's just like you just use minor illusion spells to
Yeah.
create things you vaguely remember.
We have no
Um,
idea if they're real or if
No.
they're just things
Oh,
that you're
definitely
weaving
not.
out of whole cloth.
The only other question I had about that vision stuff, did Fetid share anything regarding? You mentioned the trash dragon thing.
I did.
Any of the other specifics, or do you care?
I'm going off of what I remember, which is really just that like there's a boat involved and other quaggles and a trash
There was
dragon.
something about aisles of the teeth.
Oh yeah, aisles of teeth. So yeah, just rows and rows of teeth somewhere.
I've shopped in aisles of teeth when I was buying my spell Oh, you're talking
Hmm.
about something different.
I mean, I'm not sure. I just heard the word aisles of teeth, so it could be either, really. Could be both.
And Copernicus would know that that is a way of sort of a poetic way of describing the islands of Nelmar Zesh, which are the dragonborn nations. Are some there are some very steep mountains there, and there's that chain is sometimes referred to as the Isles of Teeth,
All right,
Oh,
this is
shit.
going
or
to
the
be.
dragon's teeth.
This is in character. Trum's like, Isles of the Dragon. Oh God, the trash dragon is a dragon quaggle.
A draggle?
A draggle.
Oh God, we're gonna find dragonborn quaggles, aren't we?
I mean, theoretically, dragonborn quaggle. Remember, in my game, I just have the kinds, right? So the dragonkin, there's big folk, which are dragonborn, and there's little folk, which are kobolds.
Oh, right.
So theoretically, a kobold is a dragonborn quaggle.
We've already
I'm
met
gonna
one.
find one and make it
Yeah.
my dad.
He's
whether
in our
he wants
house.
to or not.
In fact, there are feats where you can actually get color types as a kobold. Be like a black dragon kobold or whatever.
Wouldn't really apply to me, unfortunately.
So I think then this is a good time for our next poll. So I'm going to warn the players out of the chat for a few minutes, and my secret shadow dungeon master companion will post the poll. There we go. As usual, 10 minutes for the poll, everybody. Get them votes in. You're going to have a significant impact on some stuff coming up here, as you may see by looking at that poll.
Oh, I just remembered another
So-
thing I was going to talk about. Once we're still like eating and settling in for the night, I'm like, oh, Tromlin. We found out that this sword is like, it's got a name, but the name is not really on the blade right now, so I don't know what it's called. But your grandpa was saying that if because there's two pieces of it, I should give one to you, because that way, if somebody gets me, you can get away, and then nobody will have the full piece of the sword, and then vice versa.
Okay. If that's what you want me to do, I'll take
Yeah,
it.
but we got to keep it real hidden.
I can do that.
It's probably dangerous to hold the sword, but probably no more dangerous than just being near me, because I got to hold the other piece of the sword, so...
Ooh, that
Look.
pole is heating up.
It's important to you. It's important to me. Okay.
Thanks. I don't know why
mean,
it's
this is-
important. Like, it's other than my mom sent it, so she must think I might be able to keep it safe, I guess.
Think of it this way: it's something your mom held, and probably people in your family before her held.
Maybe?
It's a key to who you are, and if nothing else, it's a request from someone who wanted to be there for you but couldn't.
Yeah. She said something about how she sent it to me because nobody would know who I was. And I'm wondering if it's bad that I'm famous.
Well, I mean, it could be that no one knows you're related to her.
I mean, that could be.
You know, in a way, you could probably hide. Like, it's not like you're like, and by the way, my mom is so and so when you out in the fights.
No, I think anyone thinks that, like, I'm Sal's kid, weirdly. There's probably all
Yeah.
kinds of stories about Sal and, like, I don't know, a giant.
Hey, giants are good for love.
Yeah. They give really good hugs. And massages.
Yes. Tromlin desperately tries to change the subject. Because everyone's eating dinner and he does not want to make anyone feel gross. Okay, yeah, I'll take that for you. I also, in the next couple of days, need to try to continue with getting word for my charge to try to get her a new place in the new town. I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry.
Shaylin?
Names. Huh?
Shaylin?
Shaylin, yes.
Yeah.
Halen, yeah.
Shaylin.
And over the next few days, I'd like to get word around like the noble merchants through my cousin about like the poor merchant whose cart burnt down. But he's like a master baker, so if you need someone, master baker. So if you need someone,
I mean, he's two things.
yeah,
It could be two
And I
if
things.
you need someone,
Constantly.
if you need a master baker with just like really nice icing, just to glaze
great.
something for you.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to, it'd be a great time to
He
hire
makes
him.
bread that looks like dicks.
And he helps
work
rally
it
the
down.
Quaggles to save the rest of the merchants at the cost of his cart. And really, this is like the city takes care of its own. I know that, so we really should do that. So Perny's gonna try, and every time he's spreading this around, he's gonna really emphasize the story about the incompetent sheriff's men, and then the heroic Quaggles, who are really the ones who saved the merchants' quarter. And he's gonna be telling this story with his old man stamina for telling stories
Oh,
to like
good.
anyone and everyone all day, all the time.
Oh shit! That gives me an idea. I can take on my alternate personality and go sing in the go perform in the town.
We didn't start the fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Singing
You can perform your new
stories.
song.
I'll perform my hurdy-gurdy and talk. I'll try to compose a
Excellent.
ballad about the brave Quaggles. That absolutely makes the sheriff look like a fucking idiot.
The best. I mean, it's not hard. He has a bit of a reputation for reasons. Oh my goodness, that is quite the tight pole. I don't know if anyone's trying to balance the pole, but I will point out that I'm only doing one of these. But it doesn't look like that's what's happening. Wow. Good stuff. Keep it coming, folks. We're only halfway through. So in that case, then, yeah, let's talk about what's going to happen over the next few days, because I'm going to kind of montage some things. So Tromlin is, working to a certain degree to get his cart kind of back up and running. And in the meantime, since you don't have your baking business, you're spending more of your time doing music and entertaining. And in the same time frame, actually, I'm going to go one by one here. So Tromlin, as this is happening, as you're really reveling in the music and like getting out there and playing this song, this idea of your grandfather's is really good. This we didn't start the fire. You got a really good tune going to it that you're pretty happy with.
You're happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't
And,
sing more than 10 seconds of it on this channel.
exactly. And you find that at one point in the following night, when you're singing to a bunch of people, the sheriff is walking by with his, or sorry, not the sheriff, but his two deputies are walking by. One of the deputies is an Aarakocra. Kind of looks sort of vulture-shaped. He's got a crossbow. His name is Cletus.
Mhm.
And the other one is the big dumb Goliath named Junior.
Mhm.
And as they're walking through and kind of like, pushing their way through the crowd and being like, yeah, move along, yeah, you just overcome with that that same feeling from the other night, how annoyed you are at these at the sheriff and his men, and you kind of direct your music towards them and kind of call out to the big Goliath and say, hey, Junior, hey, dummy, and they start singing basically at him. And you find, as you sort of pour your energy towards him, that he begins to dance.
Oh shit!
Dance,
Well,
monkey.
It's a
And
bop.
Can
yeah,
I make
and
my monkey dance with him?
oh yes,
Oh
oh
my
most
god!
certainly.
I want to make him do the dumbest dance and make him look like a fucking idiot.
You absolutely can. So
So
this
the
is your new
Macarena
spell.
then.
So the Fey magic bubbles up again,
Yes.
and your spell absolutely ensnares him, and he will dance for the duration of your concentration.
I bet I can concentrate for a while. Should we roll for that? See how long I make him dance?
Yeah, I'm just double checking the spell. As you know, this is based on Tasha's hideous laughter.
Oh, God. Is it called just Dance, motherfucker?
Is it now?
It's called Dance Monkey. It's a very, very popular song. Up to a minute. Concentration up to a minute. So you can keep him going quite a while.
All right. When it's time for him to do like the spell can wear off, I want to make him do a flourish end. And I make him do the splits.
Nice.
So I'm going to roll his saving throws. He basically has wisdom saves, but he has terrible,
I
terrible
can't imagine
wisdom
he's
save.
good at that.
No, he is not. He has a -1 wisdom saving throw.
Can you make it a dance where he like mimes setting himself on fire or something?
Spell save DC of 15. Excellent. Okay. So, and because of circumstance, I'm giving him disadvantage on these rolls. So, like, yeah, he's not going to break out of this until you're done. Yep,
Sure,
you can keep him going through the whole duration.
Nice.
I will try to make him look like an idiot. I'll make the monkey dance around.
Oh, yeah.
With circles around him. I will make him mime out the parts of running from the fire, and then when it's about to end, splits.
Nice.
Excellent. And he is just wrecked. At the end of that, he's like collapsed in exhaustion and is like, oh,
I hope
God.
this drew a crowd. I hope this drew a huge crowd.
Oh, yes, big time. In fact, make me a performance roll. Let's see how big of a crowd.
Sweet, merciful Jesus. That's good. 24?
Excellent. Yeah.
Oh, your day sucks, buddy.
Yeah, big
Your
time.
day sucks. What's the Aarakocra doing? Like,
Yeah, the Aarakocra is like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, he's like, what the hell are you doing, Junior? Why are you dancing? Okay, excellent. Wow, that was a hell of a poll. That was a tight race. It is done. Thank you very much.
Take
Okay.
Safe to look at the chat.
Yep. Should be
Sweet.
safe to look at the chat now. So yeah, this ridiculous dance. For the chat asking, this is a level 1 version of Otto's Irresistible Dance based on Tasha's Hideous Laughter, so it's a single target. And just to purely sort of explain mechanics, this is Tromlin developing his new level up, which is a magic initiate feat that gives him some additional fairy magic. So this is a spell that you can cast with once per day or once per long rest without spending a spell slot.
Cool.
But you can also cast it additional times with spell slots if you wish.
Awesome. I'm
And then, of course,
excited.
you also have some illusionary cantrips that went with this, because that's where you got your minor illusion and your dancing lights.
But I'm excited to know I can make him look even dumber.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to move on to Ugna. So Ugna, you now that you've had this like extremely powerful, I was going to say vision, but it's not a vision. This whole situation where you got this letter from your mom, you know she's still out there, or at least she
Maybe.
was
Yeah.
long enough to give you this message that you've got this this heirloom or sword or whatever, this responsibility. It kind of makes you want to redouble your training and your you want to be up to whatever challenge this throws in your way.
I
And
also
so
had to like stop my usual training regimen for a couple weeks to go be an adventurer.
oh yes.
So
Mhm.
So cue the music. It's the dun, 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 and
hell yeah.
now we've got a montage of Ugna fighting in the pits. The crowds are loving it. The crowds are going wild. Dun, 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 as Ugna, like big fist, slow motion knockout some big trolls, like spit and teeth flying. And then another da-da-da, and there's someone has been like tangled in Ugna's net. And it's as Ugna is, you imagine cartoon Ugna in the air with speed lines, dropping the elbow. Boom! Bulging
Instead of, like,
eyes on the.
Instead of the people's elbow, can we do some kind of like the Quaggle's elbow?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, brand some kind of
Yep.
Quaggle move.
That actually
Dropping the
that would
Quaggle's
have like
elbow.
a,
The
that would have
Quaggle's
a- have
elbow?
a poison side effect.
Yeah, the Quiggle's elbows, you just stuff their head in your armpit.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, you like learn some new dirty tricks where you like in the montage. I'm totally putting a scene in the montage where Ugna is like giving a little low five with Fetid, and then like holding up her armpit so that Fetid can like lean in there and he hawks a loogie,
Oh,
Oh,
good.
no.
Oh, good.
and then Ugna does like a thumbs up and a wink, and then the next cut in the montage is like one of Ugna's like opponents getting headlocked face first into that armpit, and
And
like
just
just the
passing
arms
out
and
from the
legs are
smell.
flailing from
Yeah.
the smell. There's like stink lines rising like crazy.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Good.
And in between these are cuts of like Ugna, bench pressing the giant hammer with like one of your friends hanging from each end of it. Ta-da-da.
Just
Running
Sal
up some steps
Sal and Tom on
somewhere.
either end of the hammer.
And
Hell
yeah, Ugna is definitely like working out, and you can all see Ugna's like even more buff than usual these days.
Terrifying.
Yep.
And that's going to be the beginning of Alina moving towards a new feat
Hell
for
yeah.
Ugna. I'm gonna get some more hit points here.
Like I need more.
You say
You've
that.
been doing all
No,
the
I
tanking,
do actually
so-
need more.
Mhm.
I ran myself out like twice, maybe 3 times.
And we'll cut in a few scenes from other characters too. We'll cut into some scenes of Copernicus here, nose deep in that little red book.
Dun-dun-dun,
Except
dun-dun-dun.
head lifting up out of the book, and like the eyes are like actually like burning orbs, the flames licking up.
Sitting on the bar that Ugna is bench pressing while you're
Yes.
reading.
Yeah.
Excellent, and we'll learn more about where that goes. I guess I'll reveal Ugna's big thing here is going to be the tough feat. So we're going to see some additional hit points on Ugna.
Hell yeah.
So Copernicus is getting into that book. We'll come later on to what's going on with Glorpa and Fetid, although I imagine Fetid's going to start in the next few days here during this downtime, looking into things with these bullywugs. Scout, at the very least, I'm assuming you're scouting out the garbage dump.
Yeah, definitely.
And can I get some feelers in with Sal Shattersmith about, like, I'm assuming that he knows other like Dwarven Smith people, like he's kind of an expert in the area. And I'm just wondering if he knows anyone who studies like the old ways or the old runic stuff who might know anything about like just the history of how these types of blades are made. Like he knows any specialists. With
Okay, let's get into that scene. Yeah, if you ask Sal Shattersmith about rune blades, rune magic, he will shake his head and sadly and be like, "That is, oh son, that is a loss." Or son, he wouldn't say that to you because you're at least as old as him, or at least he thinks so.
We'll keep it that way.
Well, that's really a lost art. There's not a lot of people even know much or even study that now. They're all I would send you to Rockspire, to the to the king and his smiths.
Okay. Is that anywhere? Where is Rockspire? Is that anywhere near Trash Dragon, or what we theoretically think is the Trash Dragon?
Trash Dragon, yes.
So
Dragon
Nelmar Zesh are the mountains. Actually, why
wanna pull
don't
up the
we get a
map?
new map?
Yeah, get that map going.
No, let's get a map that people haven't been looking at
Ooh.
for a
World
while.
reveal! World reveal! World reveal!
I've revealed this one before, I think, but not in quite a while. Why don't you pull up the map for me, Lena?
It is up if you want to switch it over.
Yep. Oh, I thought I just did, but I didn't actually.
You got to
move
pull the players
proper.
onto there because I'm
Yeah,
a player.
I thought I had, but it just was the opening it. Okay, that work?
Yep, it's taking a second to load because it's a big file. There we go.
Okay.
So we're in Mudhollow. Oh, I see Rockspire.
All right. So
Over
yeah, have you
here.
got everything on? I'm just waiting for the
Yeah.
map to resolve on my delayed screen. All right, you got us.
I don't know if you can see Rockspire on my thing. I want to zoom out.
You might need to zoom out quite a bit. You should anyway, because I'm going to also point out Nelmar Zesh.
All right.
Okay, you got that all sorted?
Yep. More or
Zoom
less.
out on my screen so I can actually see it. There we go. Yeah, you made it a little bit more. I'm delayed though. I'm still seeing what you did like a minute or so ago.
Gotcha.
Or whatever, 30 seconds ago. Okay, so hopefully the audience can make out in the lower left the I'm still seeing this thing flashing, do all kinds of crazy stuff. But hopefully everyone can see in the lower left the islands of Nelmar Zesh. These are where the dragonborn cities are, the great cities that are ruled by great dragons and are individual nation states. These are all mountainous islands that are sometimes known as the Isles of Teeth or the Isles of the Dragon's Teeth. And that is what was mentioned in the trash heap's vision. Then if we move up to the upper right, to the northeast, you can see Karsh and Mudhollow further up on the map. I'll do a little ring. Why does my color keep changing back?
It's because it's changed on. That's your marker. Anything that you draw will have that color by default.
Yeah, I don't
So you
have
should
a way
change
to
it to
change
red
it.
or something.
I can't change it. I can change my drawing color to red, but I can't change my
You should be able to
designation.
right click on your, like on the color patch.
Right click?
or actually left click,
No,
and it'll bring up a little color picker.
no, nothing happens when I left click on it. I don't
Hmm.
know why. Doesn't matter. Oh, if I switch, I think I have to switch to map and background. Nope, that doesn't do it. I don't know. In any case, you can see up the road from Karsh, you can see Mudhollow and the Wizard's Vale. You can make out on the left-hand side Rockspire up in the mountains. Those are the Iron Peak Mountains, and that is the Kingdom of the Dwarves.
So exact opposite direction, more or less.
Basically.
Yes,
Okay. All right. So good to
that
know.
is correct.
But if I wanted to
And
send
I,
like, if I wanted to send like a rubbing of like say one half the sword, not to give it all away, like to like one person there, and like maybe another rubbing to a different person, just for like an expert opinion, would I be able to send that?
so sorry, what are you saying specifically
Doing like a
to
sending.
Sal? Because remember, Sal
Uh,
doesn't know anything about these
yeah.
runes. Or,
So
you don't, or did you share? No, I don't think you opened it in front of Sal.
No.
I don't think so. So
No.
what I'll say is that I'm doing some research on like the old dwarven rune masters and blade masters of old, and I'm just wondering if he knows anybody who studies them and would be able to help. There's a particular blade of interest.
And he'll nod and say the the um the the only people who even have access to the that kind of knowledge, the books and the old scrolls about the rune magic. Well, that'd be the smiths of the King Lofar. Um, his his personal his personal collection. That's where that kind of information would be. Whatever there remains of that knowledge.
Do you happen to know anybody who works there? I was just gonna write a little to whom it may concern, but if I could put a name
I
on
I
it.
I have my my son takes goods back and forth to Rockspire all the time. I mean, we have contacts there.
I would very much appreciate if we could send him with a letter or two to see if we can get an expert opinion.
Hmm. And you're familiar with Lofar Embergrim, the king of the dwarves, who is probably the strongest ally of Nedric Strack and the king in Karsh. All of these northern cities are very independent, and it's pretty important that a few of these particularly strong alliances kind of hold the north together, and that's one of the biggest ones.
Okay. And I'll
Okay.
check with Ugna before actually producing any rubbings to send, just to see if Ugna's comfortable with it, and we can like only send one half of the sword if we don't want to send the whole thing.
You can even you can even do things like out of sequence, like you could just the runes that indicate the list of characteristics,
Yeah.
or just the runes like a particular magical phrasing in runes. You'll also know more the more research you do. Like you'll sort of
Yeah.
get more of
Yeah.
an idea of what bits you would be willing
Yeah, we probably shouldn't send the
to share.
rubbings, but like just transcriptions of the runes,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
probably, because a
Good
rubbing
thinking.
would really imply that we have the sword.
That's true. That's true.
But if you're just like, here's some runes I came across, what would they mean?
Yeah. And then I guess, and to somebody else, I might ask if they know anything about, and I'll list the three: the smelter, forger, and
Yep, those three
marksman.
names.
Yeah.
In fact, are you mentioning that to Sal?
Yeah, actually, I would trust Sal to mention. I'd be like, I've been hearing about that there might have been a sword that these three worked on together.
As soon as you start mentioning names, Sal's eyebrows go through like the roof, and he will kind of get a little weird because. Sorry, I'm trying to get to there. It is the text channel. I'm gonna keep not being sure what button I'm supposed to be pushing in Discord to get where I want to go. So he clearly knows those names. When you mention Adun, Itri, and Khazar, those all you can't miss the recognition in his eyes. I'll actually get you to make an insight check just to see sort of how much information you get out of this. Because you're pretty good at that, I seem to recall.
Yeah. Or no, insight I'm not.
Oh, that's the
A
one you
little
don't
hugely
have. So
oblivious, yeah.
+2.
Investigation, yes.
That's what I was thinking was investigation. But yeah, insight is what you should roll here. So you might miss it. See how you roll.
Yeah, it's an 8. So Perny probably does not pick up on very much beyond he knows those names.
Yeah.
What
Are
if
you
I
content
spent
to leave
my
it there?
inspiration on you, though?
I
You want
can
to You're going to do a 2-to-1 on
I'm going
that?
to do it 2
I
to
could
1.
probably use my own. How much do I have right now?
You have 0, which is why I was
Oh.
offering.
Okay.
I'm going to spend 2 of mine.
You going to do it?
Yep. Give it a go.
Or I could try. I just want to see if detect surface thoughts, how much of that I can get away with before
Oh.
he notices.
Alina, do you want to switch back to the regular?
Sure.
I just want to be able to see
Before we
what
jump to
your
inspiration, I just want to see.
I was at full. I already marked them off, but I can unmark them off.
Yeah, I just want to be able to see it so that just
Yeah.
to keep track generally,
Yeah,
so I know
I'm
where
gonna
things
use,
are.
I'm going to use detect thoughts, and I'm not going to go deep in. So, because I think there's no saving throw, and he doesn't notice as long as I'm just detecting the surface thoughts.
Yeah,
think.
I will say that then you definitely get that he recognizes those names, 100%.
Okay.
I think.
I like that you're not good at insight because you can just read someone's mind.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so just the very surface thoughts, like you don't really even get, like you'll get verbalized thoughts, like if someone is thinking of like a musical, like if I'm, trying to remember song lyrics, you would see the song, you would get the song
He's
lyrics.
just humming that new catchy song.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get, we didn't start the something about that, something about a fire. That was really good.
I'm
No,
already
you
the
will.
weird old man. I could maybe I'll just go deeper, and if he gets creeped out by it, I'm just the weird old man
He's
just staring a little
staring
too
into
long.
into his brain.
I think I'm gonna do it.
Do you want to penalize his saving throw? That's one of your tricks.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, let's do that too. That's distracting intrusion, right?
You want to have your
Wonderful.
like literally you're using your Cthulhuoid brain to deliberately creep him out so his saving throw is lower.
Yeah. So
Nice.
what I'll probably
That's
do
effectively
is
what you're doing there.
yeah. So maybe when I see he reacts, I'm just like, you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Sal? And then I'll slowly, without breaking eye contact, unwrap a hard candy.
Tell you what I want to do here, Alina. I think you should still
Terrifying.
spend the inspiration
Okay.
because I think you need to justify that you're doing this because you're doing this because you failed an insight check. But if you fail an insight check, you don't know that something's there to look for.
Mm.
So let's get the reroll on the insight. And actually, don't bother to roll. If you're going to
I'm
put the
spending
inspiration
it,
in,
yeah.
I'm going to call that good enough because you don't need a big roll here just to cotton on that
Should roll better
something's
than
going
like a
on there.
7.
Yeah, you're just going. Wait a second, and then you think to cast the spell. So you cast the spell. You go in. So you're using the distracting intrusion. So that gives him a penalty of. So he gets a save against that first. And if he fails this saving throw, which he did, I rolled a 9. I don't know what his bonus to wisdom save is, but it isn't DC 15. It's not a +6, which gives him disadvantage on the saving throw against your spell. And in fact, that's per turn. So like you can do that again or the bonus action any turn and continue to make that happen. So good thing you did that because I rolled an 18, which would have saved against your thoughts, but then I rolled a 5 so disadvantage means he gets a 5.
We did it.
So you get in there. So you get the surface thoughts that are sort of effectively shock that this human, and you have a momentary glow of like pleasure that he thinks
I'm
you're human.
Good.
And that this human knows those names. There's a shock there. Because when you dig deeper, not even most dwarves know those names. Only, the dwarf smiths that have studied deeply in their craft know the names of these legendary dwarves. Khazar was sort of the greatest of the dwarf wizards who basically invented rune magic, or who at least is kind of sort of thought of that way, although it was probably, more like, how magic works. It's not really. Mordenkainen gets his name on some spells, but no one's going to actually believe Mordenkainen invented magic, or even a school of magic, right? The other two are also sort of legendary smiths. Eitri is kind of like demigod kind of status, like is part of the pantheon, but was like probably a real person that was like a smith, but is like actually, named when dwarven smiths today are like basically praying over their work and trying to really make sure that things work out. They will pray to Broker, of course, but they will also pray to Eitri. In some legends, brother of Broker, but in like that Zeusy kind of way that's like, this person was immortal, but he's also Zeus's son, because, Zeus. It's that sort of thing with Eitri. And Adun is like associated with the underworld. Like there's definitely stories there. So you get into these deeper thoughts without getting a lot of detail, because you would spend a lot of time pulling these stories out. But just the general sense of what he knows of like Khazar, Eitri, and Adun is like extreme legendary dwarfsmiths.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Cool.
But that definitely gives you, like, you're already doing some research and you have some serious direction here. Do you want to go further? Is anything else you want to pull out while you've got him on the spell? Because it lasts until he makes a save.
Yeah, he's a friend though. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I've already invaded his privacy and brain space enough.
And creeped him the fuck out.
Like a gentleman, I will pull out.
Remember from last time, pulling out involves Misty Step.
No.
True.
You just go, and poof, I'm 30 feet away. Okay, so back to where we were when that little side thing happened, which was Fetid. We were talking about Fetid's activities in the downtime here, and so I said I was assuming you were checking out and at least scouting the garbage dump and maybe other things.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I want to try and figure out what would work well as bait for these guys. So I want to find out what they've been taking when they do these raids.
Well, you can definitely do that. I'm going to get you to roll me something you're very good at. I want you to give me a survival roll, because I just want to see how extremely well you're going to pick this information up.
Well, I rolled an 18, so
well, that makes it a 28.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind. I'll just tell you everything.
Cool. Like to get
yeah, so you go through and you are like sniffing, like you get down like right flat on the ground. It's like the Looney Tunes cartoon, like Bloodhound Dogs, where your like whole body is flat on the ground and the nose is being drawn like this. And like as you move around the entire garbage pile, impossibly like hugging all the curves of the pile of trash as your body flows over it, with the nose constantly going the whole way. You like even like get in there and like cut off all the, like shave off the blue hair before you get in there so it doesn't get in your way. And you're like, right. So you, between your own memory and your sniffing, you're like, I remember where every individual piece of trash was in this heap the last time I was here. And that banana peel is missing, and there was a pack of coffee grounds over there. So you determine that primarily anything edible, but particularly edible and somewhat fermented. So anything that's been there for a while that is organic. All the stuff that was kind of mulching, that was in the process of actually breaking down. Particularly stuff that you're like, oh, there was some like berry plants that were growing in this one heap at the edge here because there was so much stuff. That's gone. Yeah, anything that had been, you would guess, fermented.
They
These
want
primal.
some
frogs have a drinking
trash
problem.
hooch.
They don't need fighting; they need an intervention.
But you also find a few other key bits of interesting information. You find in some areas, particularly places where where the raid has been like successful, where they actually came in force
Yeah.
and like chased off the quaggles and ran away again. You find signs of certainly battle. And you heard and talking to you interview quaggles while you like pull out like you pull out like you reach into your own gullet and pull out a little tiny McGruff the Hound trench coat and hat
Mhm.
and magnifying glass and a notepad, and you go all CSI Quaggle
Yep.
and you interview witnesses. And so you get a bunch of information about their tactics. They come out of nowhere in the night when most of like the humans and the guards aren't around, and it's just quaggles. They've been very organized. They kind of surprise attack in bunches. They are generally armed with clubs and spears. It's what you remember sort of hearing about these creatures. It's very primitive, like spears that are just sharpened sticks or that just have like a particularly pointy rock tied to them.
Right.
Clubs that are like just a particularly nice hefty, piece of root wood that somebody picked up. Literal rocks to throw.
Mhm.
And but when you investigate these sites and when you talk to these quaggles, there's signs of acid attacks,
Okay.
like either like slinging or spitting or throwing acid um, here and there, um, and several of the quaggles will tell you because you rolled so well here. Actually, I'm going to get you to give me a second roll for this piece of information. I want an investigation roll for this because this is not related to your sniffing.
Also rolled fairly well. 19.
Good enough. So, just from your investigator, talking to quaggles, you'll get some stories from a few of them that they wouldn't have told otherwise
Mhm.
because they kind of like it's either like a didn't believe their eyes kind of situation or thought that
Sure.
I must have been mistaken and people will think I'm crazy. But a
Right.
couple of quaggles tell you about like thinking that they saw like a giant bullywug, like a huge one lurking back in the shadows, like behind the other bullywugs, or
Okay.
like directing them from the swamp. Like there was like a really big frog out there.
That sounds not great. Okay.
King
And
Frog.
I'll even throw out there because I don't know if you remember Danielle, but you had something similar in your vision.
Yeah, it's the one thing I left out. I was like, big guy
But
is
I'll
a harbinger.
I'll
That
just say
sounds.
with this investigation role from Fetid, he's like grilling everybody, and he like asks you if you ever hear anything in the swamp about a giant frog or a really big one of these bullywugs?
Yeah, I just figured a big bully would be a bad deal, so that's kind of obvious. I didn't need to
Mm.
tell you that. Wait, is there supposed to be a big one?
That does seem to correlate with what other people are saying.
Ah, shit. I was hoping that would just be like, watch out for the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, me too. And then acid. So a big frog that can
Hmm.
probably barf acid. That sounds not great.
Or else like the acid is kind of like there's multiple sort of applications. So like it could be that acid on the like acid poisons on the weapons and things like that as
Mm.
well, or like a vials of acid collected by the bullywugs to throw.
Seems a little high tech if they're just using rocks and sharpened sticks. It's weird.
Hmm.
Okay.
Huh.
Are there missing bottles from the trash heap?
Sounds like magic.
It does.
Yeah, actually, I will say that you do notice that there's a lot of like containers missing from the trash heap as well as the
Okay.
foodstuffs. Um, and in fact, actually, you rolled so well. Like you guessed that some of the spears and weapons they're using, like, they found some jagged bits of metal and that are like they're
Mhm.
scavenging this trash heap as well for
Right.
stuff for their kind of like technology, a
Mhm.
particularly jagged sharp piece of scrap metal.
Yeah.
Much better than sharp rock.
It's got tetanus technology.
Technology. Oh, this is very good for throwing rock. All smooth and you can see through, but is good shape for throw. That sort of deal.
Mhm.
And I'll throw out like a hint of, so this montage of Fetid's investigation will include a lot of like talking to the swamp creatures at the edges of the swamp, and like diving in to like continue sniffing even through like the swamp plants, and like sniffing along. It's the cartoon scene where you're sniffing along and you go into the pool and then come out the other side as if, you know, and there's like a few bubbles come up during the process. Um, just a hint of where Fetid's new abilities are building as well.
Mhm.
We'll see more of that later.
Yeah.
And so the week progresses. A few days pass of this investigation for Fetid, training montage for Ugna. Tromlin is like, you know, practicing his music and making money that way, and slowly rebuilding his cart. Copernicus is doing all this research. What does Glorpa want to get up to a bit during these few days?
Figured if I have a few days, maybe I could go back to the swamp and kind of investigate, see what's going on back there.
For sure. So you head out into the swamps. You want to like cover as much ground as possible. So you think maybe the raven form is the way to go again.
Ooh, yeah.
And so you start flying around in raven form and trying to like poke around in the swamps. But there isn't a lot of these kind of birds in the swamps, and there's like a reason for that. And that's partly because, you know, unless you're the very small birds do very well in the swamp because they can hide in all of the tiny little, you know, corners and crevices and so forth. But like the larger birds that don't hide as effectively are targets for all the stuff what eats that kind of thing in the swamp. So you find yourself as you're investigating and like kind of, you know, first of all, you'll definitely spot some of the bullywug camps here and there as you're familiar with the swamp, so you know where to look, and you very quickly, like with alarm, start to realize, yeah, there are a hell of a lot more bullywugs than there usually are in the swamps right now. They have like multiplied. They're getting all over the place. They've pushed out some of like the turtles and lizard folk and other groups that you knew of that lived here and there in the swamp. But in addition, as you're going along in your raven form, you will be at one point some kind of like roper tree dwelling like tentacle beast will like make a grab at you. And grab a hold of your bird form, and you're like going, I'm not the kind of bird that is good at escaping this. What can I do that is? What can I do that's more? Yeah, you're like, excuse me. You know, this is a plant, of course. Ropers are plants.
Oh, thank you. I had
But
no
you're
idea.
right now. You're like, hey, I'm busy with the investigation here, Mister Grab, Mister Grab
Usually I have
Tentacle,
time for this, but
Mister Grabvine. And in that panic moment of like, nope, small bird, not ideal for this situation, you turn into like a swamp bear
ah,
Cool.
and like plunge out of the trees and like, you know, snap your way out of this
Ooh.
nest of vines, and are like very surprised. And we'll set that up that way. So you're so for the podcast for the audience. Glorpa's upgrade is the level 8 improved wild shape stuff. So Glorpa now has better options for wild shapes.
Cool.
Nice. What are the limitations for Glorpa's wild shapes? Are there any?
And you're used to have the limitation that you could only turn into animals that had a challenge rating of up to 1/2, and now you can go up to 1. which doesn't mean anything if you don't have the list in front of you. But basically, that includes things like, like an actual, like a giant eagle, for example, qualifies. Some of the larger bears are options. More fighty animals are now plausible for you.
Cool.
And technically, you're not supposed to be able to turn to flying animals until this point.
Oh,
But like, it's dumb to say that you can't turn into a small bird when you're turning into smaller animals. So I ignored that.
thanks. I did too, but not on purpose.
Well, actually, full disclosure, initially that wasn't on purpose. I just forgot, but it's fine. And yeah, so so as a few days go by, you guys do all this investigating, research, etc., and like maybe 3 days later, Tromlin, or maybe 4, Tromlin, you're hanging out once again in the market. With the help of the Quaggles and some fun / assistant from your grandpa, you've gotten pretty well along with rebuilding your cart.
I'm a trust fund
And
kid.
and you just opened your cart again for the first time. And just, it's not fully repaired, but you've got like an open counter on one side that you can sell pastries off at least. Anything that you've pre-cooked. They can't really use the kitchen part of it yet, but you can still do some work. And as you're working there and selling some pastries, there's a tug on your pant leg at the back of your leg.
We'll look back and down.
And you see Duck, the little orphan elf girl, who is holding a shiny coin that tightly in a fist that clearly she has been given, and she says, "Oh, I have a message for you, sir."
What's that? Bend down.
And you bend down, and she like gets on her tiptoes to whisper in your ear, and she says,
fishes.
"No, but in that vein, she'll say, Fat Benny says he wants to see you." Or no, she'll actually put on a voice or an accent and be like, "Fat Benny wants to see yous now."
Very well.
Nod because she's done her job and
give her a cake for free.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I
She will
love
scamper
Duck,
off
and
into
if
the
anyone
crowd.
hurts her, Alina will burn this town down.
Yep.
That's where I'm at right now too.
Not Ugna.
I close the cart and pick up the reins of my horse and move towards Benny's current whereabouts.
I mean, it's back to the Benrick crematorium, or the Rock Chewer crematorium. It's his last name, not his first name.
I will bring in my nicest shepherd's pie with me and go visit.
Do you want to collect Ugna in the process, or are you just going to go on your own?
Oh yeah, I should probably bring Ugna along just in case.
Yeah, I'm just working out like nearby in the mud pit, so you can just stop by and be like, Ugna.
Ugna.
Just follow the music. Dun, 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 dun.
It's just her. She's just humming it under her voice, under her breath as she works out.
Benny wants to speak
Everyone
to me,
should do that.
Oh, okay.
If you would come with. Assuming this is where we're going to find out whether or not we did our job right or wrong.
Mm-hmm. I briefly towel off and throw my armor on.
I'll bring in my nicest pastry, savory pastry, and also a sweet pastry, and bring them in with us. The usual pat down for weapons, I assume.
Yep, you go to the back, the alleyway, where the back entrance with the little slidey eye hole again, pair of beady eyes, slides shut, door opens. There's like some impossibly big Goliath all pressed up in the space. Like very clearly, this person's very uncomfortable in this little narrow alleyway or hallway. You get patted down for weapons. You go in, and you go into a back room, same one as before. There's no spaghetti this time, but and in fact, Benny is on his feet, kind of pacing around with a big map unrolled against the wall that's been kind of tacked up with small knives.
I immediately look at the map. Is it like the city or something else?
No, it's like the map that I showed you. It's a big regional map, big area, huge area. And And sitting at the table are a couple of local guild members that you know. Quorum Leatherback is there again, the turtle, the one-eyed turtle. But there's also a skinny elf woman that you know, a local smuggler whose name I'm trying to remember because it's not in your campaign notes. It's in, I think, actually. I'm just pulling it up. I think it's actually in Glorpa's campaign notes because she gets into the swamp a lot.
Generica
Glorpa
MIA.
friend.
It's Kyron Bowweaver.
At first I thought you said Bowel Weaver. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, not
Yeah.
Bowel. Bowel Weaver. Bowel Weaver is a quaggle that Fetid knows, but
Well, he used to know. He died.
yeah.
It was for the best.
Yeah. He deserved what came to him, honestly.
No, Kyron is an elven smuggler who has like rafts that she moves through the. She's a ranger, and she moves stuff through the swamps to bypass the city. I think she's actually on your back. Why didn't I have your? It's you. I should have had your campaign notes open. That would have made sense. But no, why would I do things that make sense?
I will present Benny with the pastries.
And in addition, Delchin Weathervane is there as well, who's generally known by the nickname Legs. He's a halfling monk who kicks people to death.
Sounds about right.
And he's a leg breaker for the mob, basically. But he's
So either we're about to get murdered or
he's very small.
sent on a mission.
No, they're sitting at the table. The three of them are sitting around the table, looking very like frustrated, like they've been here a while, and they're like they're all puzzling over something. And there's a bunch more maps and parchments strewn around on the table.
Lady, gentlemen, I hope if you're hungry, I brought some food.
Benrick waves his hand and says, "Yeah, very good," and waves his hand over at the sideboard again.
I do. I put it where I'm told. I'm not going to argue.
And Quorum, he keeps
Benny.
his back to you, and he's still kind of like poring over this map. And Quorum stands up. There's a big scrape. He's a huge turtle. He scrapes back the chair, and he goes, "We did that looking," and he's actually looking at Ugna. "We did that looking into things. You did a good job. That
Good.
that worked out pretty well. I think that goes a long way to pay off some of those debts. But
Look at Una some.
And I just shrug.
Oh,
Like,
Matt?
I don't actually know how
Hard.
much it was.
yeah, do you want to ask about that? Because Tromlin, you have no idea. Ugna's like, I owe something.
Is there a way I can do it without offending Benny?
Yeah, I mean, like, you could just sort of like, you could even surreptitiously, Benny's got his back turned. Thieves can't ask it of Quorum, like,
I will. All thieves
surreptitiously.
can't act as
You're like,
Quorum.
how much does Ugna actually owe?
You get the impression Ugna has not actually asked. She just assumes that Benny will tell her when she's done.
Oh, honey. I will ask him, like, how in deep is she?
He gives you a thieves can't figure back, and in the scene, Tromlin's eyes go wide. And out of character, I'll just say Ugna has a flaw called mob history.
Yeah.
And until Alina decides that I'm
gonna buy that off.
Ugna to get rid of that flaw, there
I'm
will
in Hawk
continue
to
to
the
be
mob.
a debt.
Can I buy it off?
In game terms, I would say, yeah, you don't think you and your grandpa combined can afford that. And honestly, I would say it's probably including something along the lines of like somebody's favorite thief or someone's son got themselves killed in something very hard to pay off happened.
There was like a big fight in Karsh that I was supposed to throw when I didn't, and then there was like a mob battle over it, and somebody's son got killed.
Yeah, a lot of people bet a lot of money on Ugna losing a fight that Ugna didn't lose.
I forgot to lose it.
The classic wonder.
Yep.
That's the basic
I got
premise.
too excited fighting, and I forgot to lose.
Now that
Okay,
said, I'm happy to eventually. I'm happy to eventually have Ugna pay get rid of that, take a different flaw, whatever. But I'm
but not
leaving that up
today.
to you, Alina.
Yeah, not
Why,
today.
why do I
That's
feel
fair.
like it's that YouTuber boxing scandal kind of thing where
Oh,
like
God.
you're supposed to let the YouTuber win and you
Yep.
just beat the shit out of them?
Yes.
Just
I've not
because they
heard
were a
of that scandal,
YouTuber.
and that's amazing.
I don't think that happened in particular.
Yeah.
But so
But it
in
would be
addition
great if it
to,
did.
there's a really like so Floyd
Let's
Mayweather.
say, yeah. Let's say that like someone who's like got royal connections, like some
Oh,
like
yeah.
some like scion of nobility fancied themselves a pit fighter and wanted to and like got themselves all set up with
Give
like
me the best of the biggest
lots
pit
of
fighter you can get, and then make
yeah
them lose.
with lots of hype, and they were going to go and fight one of the current champion who at the time was Ugna, and they made it through the mob that there was going to be a throne fight, and instead got like the top like hospitalized like permanent damage
There's somewhere
level.
there's some noble kid who is just like forever living in a bed, and they have an enchanted bag of devouring like a feast like to collect all their feces.
Philosophy
They
does.
just can't. They're just done. Like they're just so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like bring forth the enchanted piss bag, and the saddest bag
Yeah.
of devouring. It's just like tears coming down.
Oh, those aren't tears. That's overflow.
Oh,
A little bit of both.
That's nitrites.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's something not great. And
God damn
Quorum
it.
sort of quietly throws you that just as a that's just for you, Tromlin,
I
so
appreciate.
you know what's going on.
Yep.
I
And
thank
Quorum
him.
will
It
then
was very kind of him.
we got another job if you want it. You're in he's looking at Tromlin. You're in good standing right now. This all kind of went real well. And we got a job that we're trying to figure out if you want to take it on. If it doesn't work out, whatever. If it does, it'll be a big chunk towards your debt. And I think that we can make an arrangement. We can pay you for this job in part with like actual pay and in part with towards the debt.
Look at Ugna.
Um,
It's up to you, your choice. But
I mean, it depends on what the job is, but I like working.
well,
Uh,
it's so some client wants to make some kind of magic potion, and one of the ingredients is owlbear milk.
Oh,
character. Does this have anything to do with that recipe book?
that was
found?
owlbear eggs.
Owlbear eggs were in
Yeah.
that recipe, interestingly enough.
Somebody's making an owlbear cake.
Owlbear
Oh.
souffle.
He says, and we don't even know where the hell to send our people to get owlbear milk.
Yeah.
Like, the
Maybe the
best we
owlbear
can figure
dairy.
was sending someone to trade to Dwimmerdell, where all the crazy wizards might have shit like that. But that's not a sure thing. There's one sure thing that would work, and that would be somebody goes and finds some pregnant owlbears.
Oh, they
Well,
look so cuddly.
I
I
do
bet they're
happen to
soft.
know- and it's
Friendly.
sharp. It's sharp. Well, we do know a druid. If nothing
Well-
else,
From what I heard about Stormhill, you put a lot of, a weird situation to bed. So you're going to be our weird situation specialists. And this is
We're
a
good at weird
fucking weird
situations.
situation. So you want the job, say the word,
I look at Ugna.
and you're on it.
You know, I go wherever you go.
I want to try and pet an owlbear.
We're in.
Milk. The
That
operative
too.
term here is the verb is milk.
You can pet it while I'm milking it.
I'll probably have to, or like claw your face right off.
Exactly. Yes. That is. Yeah. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. All right.
So
We'll do our
Benric
best.
Benny is still looking at the map, but the others kind of look relieved at this news. And Quorum goes over to the sideboard and opens a cabinet and pulls out a really big wineskin and says, "This much," and he tosses it to you.
All right.
Catch it
I'm
and
guessing.
tuck it in
I'm
my bag.
guessing spoilage is a thing. So I don't know how you want to go about this, but it's got to be usable when we get it to the client.
Let me look up some spells. I
Yep.
have someone who we can maybe find a way to chill them, keep it nice and cool, or even freeze it.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you got to bring an owlbear and milk it. I don't know. I don't want to think about it, frankly. So
I'm a little hesitant to bring an owlbear to the city. I think we all understand why. That is going to
We
be a
can
very pissed off
hide an
owlbear.
owlbear in the swamp. Swamp's not far.
I'm not sure bringing an owlbear anywhere near a city is a good idea in general. They're pissy bastards.
Maybe we could make friends with it.
you figure it out.
We'll do our
I'm an
best.
owlbear.
Okay. And so began the new quest, Milk the Owlbear.
Milk the
Oh my
owlbear.
This is what we leveled up for.
Make sure we get
Yeah.
a female one.
I mean, Adventure 1, Stop a War. Adventure 2, Milk an Owlbear. This
Correct.
is the classic progression
This
Hero's
is the hero's
journey.
Dungeons
Yeah.
and Dragons.
Yep.
So normally we would have ended about 15 minutes ago. We started late, so we can keep going if you want to. I know Jeff is
I
on
need to go
Atlantic
to
time.
bed.
I'm
It
also
is-
I'm
Yeah.
hungry.
So I think
Wait.
I wanna eat food.
we'll wrap there. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
That's
Indeed.
great to me.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll do our wrap up here real quick. First of all, I'll remind everybody in the chat to come and join us in the Discord. There is a fan Discord, and I'll get Alina to post the link. There's a permalink, and I saw some of the. I don't get to watch all of it go by because I'm busy running the game, but I definitely saw some chatter about some of the sneaky DM game planning stuff and some of our homebrew stuff that we are chatting about in that Discord. There is, in fact, a no players allowed channel within the Discord so that we can talk about spoilers if you want to.
Link is posted.
Nah.
So please feel free to come join us. If you click on that, you can come on in, and we will welcome you there. Otherwise, I have a note from my DM.
Shadow
There is
DM.
There is in fact a home brewing thread in the Discord.
Ooh.
I am informed now by that probably just got started by my Shadow DM. Shout out as always to my Shadow DM Dan.
Dan.
Hey,
Thanks
Dan.
for modding up our channel and running the polls and all the good stuff. Yeah, like, we want to go around and shout anything out? Anybody got any shout outs
We
to
should
do?
also roll for the sketch card.
Yep, I was going to do the shout outs
Okay,
first, but
sounds
whatever, whichever order you want to do. You guys want to think about shout outs first? We'll do the sketch card first. Do we have a sketch card to show off?
I think I showed them all off last time, but I will.
Well, there was a new one, a new person. I don't know if we have the new card yet. I'm guessing if you don't think so, then probably not, since you're the one putting the cards together.
This is the last one I had. Was the
Okay.
sexy Ugna or sexy Glorpa? Sorry.
Yeah, Sexy Ugna is a different
That's
card.
a different card.
That may be coming.
Should we
We'll
just do a
definitely have
sketch card that's all our characters as pinups?
Hell yes.
Yes.
I love that idea.
Perny.
We'll have
I was
another.
thinking Perry's gonna be amazing.
yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
We'll have to have another sketch night sometime.
Here's your favorite double
Sometime
kill.
soon.
Yeah.
You want to give me what I'm rolling for this?
Looks like we got
Any sketch card?
18 names.
I have rolled number 11.
11 is Metageeky.
Yay, Metageeky!
Yay, Metageeky.
You are going to get the next sketch card.
October 8th. There.
Excellent.
So congrats, Metageeky.
I see a woot in response to that. And while people are thinking about whether they have any shout out, I can. I believe I revealed before that John Kovalik is going to guest star for us, but it was going to be next game. Now it's going to be the one after that, just because some stuff came up, but works for me because it gives me a little longer to set up you guys in the right place so he can join at the top of the game and not like partway through.
We know who's going to be the owlbear farmer now.
I can reveal that he is going to play a Loxodon.
Ooh.
But that is all I will reveal at this time. Yeah, so anybody got anything you want to shout out? Any current projects or nifty shit that you want to draw attention to? Doesn't even have to be your own stuff.
Did a 48-hour comic
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
challenge over the last weekend. So I think it's up on Twitter, and I'll put it up on Instagram soon. I'm D Corsetto on either of them. It's
I
already
gotta
up.
read that.
And it's up there in the corner. You guys can see the link to Danielle's stuff. Anything else going on these days?
I've got comics up on Granville Island. I know most of our stream isn't from Vancouver, but if you are, go to Granville Island. There is a show on right now called Comics in Transit, and it is, I think, 8 different artists, all doing comics about living through COVID. And there is some really, really amazing, really artistic comics.
These are like the big poster comics, right?
Yeah,
These are like
yeah.
the great big.
They're like bus
big,
stop
they're
size.
on shelters.
Yeah, they're huge, and they're amazing. We just had a viewing of them last night, so they're up until end of November, I think. I'll throw a link in the chat where to find more information about them. And then other than that, come check out Something Wicked every Wednesday. It's the other stream I play on. At twitch.tv/something5e. It's a ton of fun. It's a slightly spookier game, so it's good in the run up to Halloween.
More spooky horror, less ridiculous creatures, less fart jokes, I'm guessing.
You'd be surprised.
Are you doing, let me tell you what my character this week?
Not this week because it is Thanksgiving, and also Maggie is super busy, so.
Yeah, for our American viewers, the reason we didn't play tomorrow is it's Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend. And us Canadians are going to be thanking all the gives, or giving all the thanks. I forget how that works. Yeah, any other shout-outs?
I'd say one last one is it's Monica Gallagher's birthday today. So if anybody knows her and doesn't know that she's doing a new comic, it's called The Biggest Bigfoot. I know it's on her Patreon. I can't remember if she's put it anywhere else yet, but it's really fun. I really enjoy it. It's all cryptid stuff.
She and I need to do the cryptid trip. We talked about that.
Yes.
Oh, I think that's this month at Bigfoot Festival in Texas.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course, there's a Bigfoot Festival.
If anyone missed it too, we now have Trash Heroes starting to come up on podcast format on Spotify and Anchor FM. So, and frankly, through those, pretty much wherever you can get to podcasts. I think the first
post the link to that.
First few episodes are up, but we will continue to put up new episodes of Trash Heroes in podcast format for people who like to listen to these zany antics on your commute and whatever. And I think that is all of the announcements. All good?
Yeah, I'm just posting links.
Okay. Thanks again, everybody, for coming. Just one last thing. The last poll, we didn't get to the result of it, but it's coming up at the beginning of next game. I'm sure everyone who participated in the poll is pretty good idea how that's going to play out. So
I don't like this at all.
Thanks in advance, guys.
Yeah.
Disagree.
I had to choose through a bunch of things that weren't great for you, so it kind of was going to be not great for you no matter what.
Cool.
Okay. See you all next time. 2 weeks, but back on Saturday.
See ya.
Bye.